Hey guys, what's up? Deck here with the Stack Deck. Today we are reviewing the Ultimagear Millenium puzzle. So this puzzle took me 3 hours and 8 minutes to solve. You basically have the pieces in sprues. You have to cut them out with snips. That is the picture of it right there. And then you have to put the two pieces together. And then once you got all 33 pieces assembled, then you can go ahead and solve the puzzle. There's no instructions in the box on how to solve it. There are instructions though on the website that you can go to. This is what the puzzle looks like once it's built. So my main goal was I wanted to beat Team APS's solving, and I know it took 3 of them to do it in 8.5 hours. So I was like, oh, I wanted to beat that time. The only thing I knew about their build was there was an L-shaped piece that goes on the inside of the puzzle. And I did get this done in 3 hours and 8 minutes, but I did forget that piece first. So I had to take it apart and then rebuild it. So that is just unfortunate, but it is what it is. So there's no string or chain or anything to put on the puzzle. Now this puzzle is not exactly life-size, but it is close to life-size, which is basically like right near it. And then so you got this. It kind of fits together all pretty well. Here's one side of it. Here's the other side. And here's the side. There's a couple areas that has like a gap. So you see like the corner right there. This right here. And then the back corner right there. But that's just going to be how it is. The pieces aren't like traditional puzzle pieces. They don't kind of snap in to each other or anything. They just kind of sit there, and most of them are smooth. So some gaps are going to be unavoidable. Now, you can take this main piece out and see like what the inside of the puzzle is. So it is not hollow. You do have to put pieces in the puzzle. And the pieces in the puzzle are kind of what locks it together. So there's that, and then you can always just put the piece back in, like your Yugi about to solve it for the first time. Or the second time. I think he solved it twice. Because it got smashed after he did the Bandit Keith fight. After he put the chain on it. But overall, it is a pretty cool puzzle. Now, the solving process was pretty easy. Or annoying, I guess. There's a lot of times where I thought that I had to be correct on where the placement goes, but it just didn't feel like it fit. Like the pieces were like, oh, well, there's no way, it's too tight. So I ultimately was like, oh, there's no way this is right. And I did that with one of the corner pieces. And it took probably about 10 or 15 minutes. And then 10 or 15 minutes like the following day, messing with the same corner piece, because it's like, I feel like I'm right, but it doesn't fit. And it turns out, yeah, I was originally right. It was supposed to go there. So I had to do everything. Now, the reason that it took so long is there are some pieces that you have to put together at the same time. So we're like, you hold this with one finger, you hold this corner with one finger, and then you hold another piece up here with one finger, and then you kind of like, I'll probably show this on the actual webcam, but you kind of like take your fingers, and when you push the pieces down, they have to interlock like this. So if you don't do that, they're not going to be able to fit. So that's a couple of the problems there. There is one piece that I knew about that you put in the middle of the puzzle, and you have to insert it in one way, and then you have to like twist it 180 degrees. Now, I know that only because of the manga. So I did read the Yu-Gi-Oh manga. I did watch season 0 and all that stuff. So I knew about the like, you had to put the key in and you have to twist. Just because from what I've seen on the actual manga itself, the few steps that you get in there, they did incorporate into this actual puzzle. Although it's nothing special, it's just like, oh, put this in and rotate, and then the other one is basically this final eyepiece right here. And that's about it. So this puzzle, I bought it for about $44. It was on sale down from $47.99. That is USD, and that is on Amazon's website. This puzzle took me about 3 days to receive. Now, I bought this puzzle, and I bought a second one. So, I actually have the second one over there on that table. And it's kind of like did that for a reason. So, I wanted to keep one of these together. So, this is the one that I'm going to keep built. And then I'm also got the other one that I am going to assemble the pieces, but I'm not going to actually solve the puzzle with that one. I'm going to keep them individual, just kind of like this. And the point of that is the gold sarcophagus that the puzzle pieces come in is also an Ultimagear kit. So Ultimagear is a Bandai Namco kind of thing. And the sarcophagus will be a video out eventually, and then it'll come into like its own little box. You have to assemble the pieces together, snap them together. You don't have to solve it. It's not just a puzzle. It's just basically a model kit. And then you could put, the entire point is you put these pieces individually in that sarcophagus. And then you'll basically have like a little puzzle box like Yugi did. So I want to display the open sarcophagus, like with the lid coming off a little bit, with the puzzle pieces in it, and then next to it have the full puzzle. Now there is another puzzle you can get called the Complete Millennium Puzzle. Those are about 180 on Amazon, and they're sold out. So they're harder to get. I think that is like an import kind of thing only. While this originally was an import, but you can now buy it. The complete edition is basically the same thing, except it's already put together. It's more glossy and it has lights and sounds. So for somebody who just wants to wear like cosplay and they want a Millennium Puzzle for cosplay, that would work really good. But as far as actually being a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, I think building the puzzle and solving it is probably the best thing. It's just a really good feeling to actually get it done. It is frustrating. You'll get to trying to put the pieces together, but once you start making a bunch of progress, it feels really good. And that's awesome. It is my first attempt at a 3D puzzle, and it is probably going to be my last attempt at a 3D puzzle. I don't know if I care much about the 3D puzzles. I like more of like the those Japanese puzzles of like the puzzle box that has like the key that you get to put somewhere it doesn't belong and all this stuff. Like it's like, oh, the keyhole doesn't open it with the key. The key opens the leg, and then the leg is the key to the lid or something like that. Some like was it Chris Ramsey does a bunch of those puzzles. He's a little magician dude on YouTube. So I really like it. The reason that I'm not doing the puzzle box yet is I haven't received it. It does say it takes 30 days of delivery time. So it's still ordered, but they're not going to be sending it out yet. So I don't have that. Also, this is a UPS delivery from Amazon. At least for me it was. So it means it's probably not something they have at their warehouse. It's something that's probably sent by somebody else. But overall, I actually do think it's worth it. I enjoyed buying it. Now, it is worth it for me to buy two. I wouldn't have bought two if this was any more. Like, if this was $100, I would have probably skipped out on it. But because it's right there at the, like, $45 mark, it is worth it for me. But it just depends on how big of a Yu-Gi-Oh fan you are and how much you actually want to solve puzzles like this. If you don't want to solve the puzzle, if you don't care about that, if you just want this piece, and it's like, oh, well, $40 is pretty good, then go ahead and you could buy it. There's a tutorial, someone show you how to make it on YouTube in like 2 minutes. There's also a bunch of, you'll see the gates that are sticking up a little bit. If you want those taken away, you can use a fill marker and kind of hide those if you want to. Or if you don't like this shade of gold and you want it to be more, I guess, glossy or metallic or whatever, what I would do is after you assemble the pieces, you can actually spray paint these. And I saw a lot of people spray paint them. And then what to do is you put like a black wash on it, and it'll look, you know, you'll have the metallic gold, and it'll also look like ancient and dirty kind of. So you can do that as well if you want. And the good thing about this is because it's like 45 bucks, that's not too big of an expense to where you have to worry about messing it up too bad. But always remember, if you're going to do that stuff like painting and blackwashing and you've never done it before, if it looks bad at first, just usually you want to continue it. That is kind of a big thing I've seen. Things don't look good when you're doing that kind of stuff until they look good. So you'll see that if you're ever watching like Adam Savage's stuff. A lot of the times, like once he starts the process of like, oh, I'm going to repaint this model or I'm going to blackwash this model, you'll notice it looks bad before it looks amazing. And that's just how it is, because it's an all or nothing kind of thing. If you have a really clean room and then you have one corner of your room that has a bunch of cables and shit randomly thrown there, that's going to look worse than if the whole room just had cables everywhere. Or if the whole room was neat. It's just because it's the eye-catching, eye-popping kind of detail that sets it apart. So when you start cleaning it and painting it for the first time, if half of it looks really dirty and half looks clean, it just looks off to your brain. So it's not going to be as good yet, but once it's finished, you should be good. Just remember that. Don't get discouraged if halfway through you think it looks terrible. If you don't like the shade, okay, that's different. But if you are kind of doubting it, and maybe don't give up on it quite yet, and at least see like what one finished side would look like. But that's all my thoughts on it. Let me know what you all think about the puzzle, and I will see you all next time. Don't forget to game like a god. Pass turn.